Ben here, back with another video for you. Today I'm going to show you how I made this cutting board. Now this cutting board is one of two. I made one for my wife, and while I was at it I figured that the second one would be a good giveaway for me celebrating hitting 1,500 subscribers. So I want to say thank you to all my subscribers and everyone watching, and if you're interested in being involved in a giveaway for this cutting board, be sure to check out the next video that I post later today, and I'll give you all the details on how you can enter to win this cutting board. So, hope you guys enjoy the video. What I've got here, a couple pieces of maple, and this board had a split in it just because of the way it was. Had a split in it, no big deal though. I'm going to use these pieces. And this piece here has a split in it too. No big deal, I'm going to use these pieces too. I've got a couple pieces of maple there, and a couple of pieces of walnut here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to rip all these down to 1.5 inches. Now I've got a pile of walnut and a pile of maple. So, all I have to do now is just figure out what patterns I want. All I'm really going to do is sit down and just kind of wing it a little bit here. I've got two boards set up here. One here and one here. Now these are all different size boards. None of them are really identical. All I'm doing here is just taking, once I laid the boards out in the pattern that I wanted, I just take and glue all my boards together. I just went through and laid the boards to one side, glued one side of the board, and then just stood them up and put them all together. So there's really nothing special here. It's just laying the pattern out that you want, putting the glue on, and then just putting them together. Once I got to the point where I got glue on all the boards and I have them all set together here, I just went and fumbled around with these clamps trying to get this board to be right where I wanted it. I wanted to make sure that I had it set so that, you know, the cutting board didn't have any kind of a bow to it, and it was nice and flat. I first started with a couple of clamps here, and it didn't seem like it wanted to. The more I squeezed it, the more it went up and down in the air, so I went back and forth here to try to flatten it back out. I took the clamps back off, and I found the best thing that I could do was just lay a board across the top and bottom and C-clamp them on there to keep the cutting board itself flat. And then once I had those C-clamps on, it made it a lot easier to put the clamps on and put some pressure on. As soon as the glue started to set up, I took the C-clamps off and the boards that are on the top and the bottom there so that they didn't stick to the cutting board. I just took them off once the glue set up a little bit. But just for the setup purpose, the more clamps the better. And I don't have a ton of clamps, so I just used what I had available to me there. And I think 3 clamps was sufficient to put a good set on the glue for the cutting board. And that was the first one. The second one here, I just, instead of laying it down, I just stood it up on its end and glued one piece at a time, and then laid the next board on and glued that one, and just kept the process going all the way through until I had used all the wood that I had available. Just a nice, simple, easy way to make a cutting board. You can use just about any kind of wood glue for this. I used Elmer's wood glue. It works good. You know, I've made some other cutting boards in the past, and I've never had any issue with the cutting board. So I know there's some people recommend certain types of glue, but I found that Elmer's wood glue works just as good as any other. So in this cutting board here, I just did the same thing, put the C-clamps on to hold it flat, and then put a number of different clamps across it. I had trouble with the one clamp, didn't want to set and didn't want to tighten up right, so I put that one in the middle, took it off, put it back on, took another one off, put another one on. But you get the idea. Now here, I just wanted to show you guys what they look like with once the glue set up. This is the next day. So you guys have an idea what the boards look like when I took the clamps off. does look a whole lot nicer once it goes through the planer. Now that I had the boards cut down the length and they've been run through the planer, I just sit down by the fire here and I went through and sanded. I started off with a 60 grit, went to 80, 120, and 220. And I won't bore you with having me watch me sand for a few hours here, but it did take some time to run through and sand these boards all the way down to put a nice finish on them to the point where they were nice and smooth when I was done. That's all there is to it. You know, these cutting boards are a pretty simple project, and it's a good use of some scrap wood. All I'm doing is cutting them to the same width, cutting them to roughly the same length, glue them together, run them through the planer, and cut them to length, route them, and sand it down to put a nice finish on it. The only thing that I didn't show you is the finish that I used on these afterwards is a food grade mineral oil, and that's just to put a protective coating on this wood and to keep it safe in the kitchen so that you're not contaminating your food. It's a food grade mineral oil designed specifically for cutting boards. So that's all there is for this. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you're interested in the giveaway, be sure to check that video out. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys next time.